Asterisk asterisk, the train that never reaches its destination, asterisk asterisk, the first thing Dr. Elias Voss noticed when he boarded the asterisk Eschaton Express asterisk was the silence. Not the absence of sound. No, the train hummed with the low, metallic groan of engines buried deep within its steel skeleton, but the silence of its passengers. They sat perfectly still, their faces slack, their eyes fixed on nothing. No one spoke. No one turned to look at him as he dragged his suitcase down the narrow aisle, the wheels clicking over the joints in the floor. Elias had been hired as a last-minute consultant for the maiden voyage of the asterisk Eschaton asterisk, a revolutionary deep space locomotive designed to traverse the newly constructed celestial rail, a network of quantum tunnels linking Earth to the outer colonies. The project had been shrouded in secrecy, its funding sources murky, its technology beyond anything Elias, a theoretical physicist specializing in transdimensional mechanics, had ever seen. He had asked questions, of course, but the answers were always the same. Asterisk signed the contract, Doctor. The future is waiting. Asterisk now, as the train lurched forward, Elias took his seat beside a window that looked out onto the void. Stars stretched into impossible filaments, smeared like wet paint across the blackness. The celestial rail was not a tunnel in any traditional sense. It was a tear in reality, a wound stitched shut by human hands. The asterisk Eschaton asterisk didn't move through space so much as it asterisk unfolded asterisk it, slipping between dimensions like a needle through fabric. Hours passed, or maybe days. Time had a way of slipping here, thinning like the air in a depressurizing cabin. Elias checked his watch, a vintage mechanical piece, something tactile to ground him. But the hands spun lazily, never settling. He stood, swaying with the train's unnatural motion, and made his way to the dining car. It was empty. Plates of food sat untouched, the meat gray and glistening, the vegetables withered as if aged decades in an instant. A single drop of wine trembled at the lip of a glass, refusing to fall. Elias reached out, his fingers brushing the stem, and the glass shattered. Not from impact, not from any force he could perceive. It simply asterisk ceased to be whole asterisk, its fragments hovering in the air like a paused explosion. Then, one by one, they clattered to the table, a voice behind him, "You shouldn't touch anything." Elias turned. A woman stood in the doorway, her skin pale, her eyes too wide. She wore a conductor's uniform, but the insignia was wrong. Not the sleek, corporate logo of the Celestial Rail Corporation, but something older, something jagged and angular, like a symbol carved into stone. "Who are you?" Elias asked. "I'm the one who tried to warn them," she said. Her voice was hollow, as if echoing across a vast distance. "They wouldn't listen. They never do." "Warn them about what?" She smiled, and Elias saw that her teeth were not teeth at all, but something else, smooth, elongated, like shards of bone forced into gums, about the destination. Elias felt his pulse quicken. Where is this train going? The woman's smile widened. Nowhere, everywhere. The train doesn't asterisk reach asterisk, Doctor, it asterisk unmakes asterisk. Then the lights flickered. When they returned, she was gone. Elias stumbled back to his seat, his mind racing. The other passengers remained motionless, their chests rising and falling in perfect unison. He leaned closer to one, a man in a business suit, and recoiled. The man's pupils were not round but asterisk star-shaped asterisk, tiny pinpricks of light swirling in their depths. A sound filled the cabin then, a noise Elias could not place, a frequency that vibrated in his teeth rather than his ears. It was the sound of something asterisk breathing asterisk, not a living thing, not a beast or a man, but the slow, rhythmic exhalation of the universe itself. The window beside him darkened. Elias turned, and for the first time, he asterisk saw asterisk. Outside, pressed against the glass, was a face. No, not a face. A asterisk concept asterisk. a thing that existed only in the negative space between dimensions, a being of angles and edges, its form shifting like a kaleidoscope of fractured mirrors. It had no eyes, but Elias felt its gaze pierce him, peeling back layers of his mind like the pages of a book. Asterisk, you are not supposed to be here. Asterisk, the voice was inside him, a whisper made of static and screams. Asterisk, this is not a place for flesh. This is the hollow, the between. The train does not carry you. It feeds you to us. Asterisk, Elias tried to scream, but his throat was sealed shut. The thing outside stretched. Its limbs were they limbs, elongating, wrapping around the train like veins around a dying heart. The passengers began to twitch, their heads snapping toward him in unison. Their mouths opened, and from their throats poured not words, but asterisk light asterisk, a brilliant, blinding radiance that spilled across the cabin, etching shadows into the walls, shadows that asterisk moved asterisk. The conductor's voice echoed in his mind, asterisk, the train doesn't reach. It unmakes. Asterisk, and then Elias understood. The asterisk Eschaton Express asterisk was not a vessel. It was a ritual, a sacrificial rite conducted by forces beyond human comprehension, a way to carve paths through the cosmos by offering lives as toll. The passengers were not travelers, they were asterisk fuel asterisk. Their minds, their souls, their very essence unraveled to keep the doors between worlds open, and he was next. The thing outside pressed closer. The window cracked. Elias ran. He careened through the cars, each one stranger than the last. A library filled with books whose pages were made of skin. A greenhouse where the plants screamed when touched. A nursery with cribs that rocked themselves, the blankets stained with something dark and viscous. At last, he reached the engine. There was no driver, no controls. Only a vast, pulsing asterisk organ asterisk. A grotesque mass of flesh and machinery fused together, its surface writhing with tendrils that plunged into the walls. At its center, a single, lidless eye regarded him. Asterisk, you see now. Asterisk, Elias fell to his knees. Why? Asterisk, because the universe is hungry, because your kind built roads where you should have bowed, because some doors should never be opened. Asterisk, the train shuddered. The walls peeled away like rotting skin, revealing the void beyond. An endless, churning ocean of entities older than time, their forms beyond madness, their thoughts beyond language. They reached for him. The last thing Elias Voss heard was the scream of the train, or perhaps it was his own, as the asterisk Eschaton Express asterisk tore itself apart, scattering its passengers like crumbs tossed into the dark. And then silence. The train was gone, but somewhere in the spaces between, it still runs, and it is always looking for new passengers.